and welcome to our virtual show and tell entitled Whose Mitten Is This? Here with Metro Parks of Butler County at beautiful Chris Home Historic Farmstead. My name is Laura Askill and I am the Ag Ed Farm Manager. And in the video you'll also meet a junior volunteer with Metro Parks, and her name is Alita Askill, and she will assist you in how to make your mittens. So if you haven't had the opportunity yet, now is a good time for you to print off your mittens, your animal sets, and your face mask, and then we'll get started. Let's go. Okay, now what's going to be going on in this video is as follows. We're going to teach you how to put your mittens together. We're also going to talk about each of the individual animals that are part of that animal set that you can print off. And those animals are going to go inside your mitten once you've made it. And we're also going to teach you how to make a farm animal mask. And then at the end of the video, we're going to take our mask and our mittens and the animal set cards, and we're going to put them all together by singing a song, Whose Mitten Is This? In the snow, where all the animals are going to be hiding in the mitten until the cow does something. And then you can finish off with our live animal portion of the program.
So what you guys need to do is print off your mitten, cut it out, then take your paper hole puncher and punch holes along the outside of the mitten. But be careful not to punch holes along here, which is called the cuff. So the next step is cutting the yarn. So you need about an arm's length of yarn, about like this, and then you're going to cut it. And then if you have a plastic needle, you're going to thread the yarn through the needle like this. So if you don't have a plastic needle at home, that is okay. Instead, you're going to take a piece of tape and then gently wrap it around one of the pieces of your yarn. Like this. Now we are ready to sew. But before you do that, you have to make sure your mittens are lined up. So right hand, and then flip it over, and then your left hand. Alrighty, so take the taped end and push it through the farthest hole. Pull it through, and then tie a knot at the end. And then this is just a simple in and out. So go in, and then back out. And you're going to do that all the way around the mitten. So if this way doesn't work for you, you can always sew it like this. Or if sewing doesn't work, you can just staple it. But remember to leave an opening right here.
Okay, now let's learn about some of our animals that are in our animal set. So if you will please take your animals and place them in this order. The largest animals to the top, or first, to your smallest animal at the back. Here's a hint. Your first two animals should be the cows. And the cows, we have this one which is representing our dairy cows, and this one which is representing our beef cows or our meat cows. Okay, so let's get started. All of the animals that are in our animal set are raised by farmers, either for meat, milk, or some other product or byproduct that they get from their animals. Also, all of the animals can and are raised as pets too. This cow is raised for its milk, and of course we make cheese and yogurt and other products from the milk. And this one is raised for its meat. Many of you may have eaten steaks and things like that. Also, cows are raised for transportation. They pull carts or do manual labor. And some other byproducts from a cow might include, medicines, shampoo and conditioner for our hair. They're also used in wallpaper, and glues, candies, paint, and some of our crayons. Now you're going to learn a lot more about all of these animals throughout the year during our show and tells, because each one of them is going to have their own show and tell. So we're just going to cover a couple little bases of each one of them today. All right, so we're done with the cows, so you may put them in your mitten. The next one should be the sheep, primarily raised for meat, which is called lamb and mutton, and also what do you call the fur on a sheep? The fiber. What is that called? That's called wool. And some of us have clothing and hats and mittens and scarves, which is made out of wool, which comes from a sheep. Okay? Sheep are also used to naturally graze pastures. And think about that. If you could put your sheep out into the pasture, then you don't have to mow it. So that's going to save the farmer time and money. Our next animal is the pig. That's probably one of my favorite animals. Pigs are raised for meat. If you eat pork or bacon or ham, that came from a pig. Some other byproducts that come from our pigs include hair for artist brushes, gelatin for gelatin for the gel capsules for our medicine, and also violin strings. Goats. Goats are primarily raised for their meat and their milk. There are also transportation animals. They are used to pull carts. And this is probably one of our healthiest meat for humans to eat. They are also used because goats thrive on land that's unsuitable for other livestock. So if you don't have the most pristine pasture to be able to put the sheep out, but if you do have some land that has a lot of weeds and honeysuckle, goats do very well on that type of land. And again, that's the way for the farmer not to have to cut down the trees and the bushes and do extra mowing. So it saves time and money. We have 2 chickens here. Chickens are raised for meat, and also what does the hen, the girl chicken, lay? She lays eggs, which is very important. Chickens are what we call a natural insecticide and weed control animal. You could put chickens out in your garden and they're going to take away all those insects which might be munching on your broccoli. So farmers like to use those as a natural insecticide too. Your next picture should be the rabbit. Rabbits are raised for meat and obviously raised as pets. And they have the best feed conversion ratio of any animal that we can raise on the farm. And last but not least is the mouse. Now, farmers don't raise mice. We get mice because mice are attracted to our animal feed that we have out to feed all the other animals. But there are people who raise mice. They are animal caretakers, like at the zoos, the rehabilitation centers, maybe at a nature center. Because mice are part of the food chain, and there are lots of animals that eat mice. So if you have a pet snake, or if you work at the zoo and you have birds of prey like an owl or a hawk, they need to have mice to eat. And our wild mice are part of the web of life, the food chain out in the wild, so they're also very, very important. All right, thank you very much. All right, now hopefully you've had a chance to print off which farm animal mask you wanted to make. So today I chose to do the pig. So what I did was I printed it off, I cut it out, and I had somebody help me with the eyes because they were a little bit more difficult. So what you're going to do next is you're going to turn your mask down like this. You're going to take 2 straws, lay them like that, take some tape, and tape the straw onto the mask. Then, ta-da! You've made yourself a face mask. So hopefully you had a fun time making your animal mask. So what we're going to do now is we're going to teach you the mitten and the song. This is the farm version, okay? And when your name of your animal has been called, you are to put your mask up over your face and you are to yell out the words as loud as you can to the song. All right, very, very simple. It's the tune of The Farmer in the Dell. So let me teach you the words. The mitten in the snow, the mitten in the snow, help us please so we don't freeze, the mitten in the snow. Pretty simple, huh? So what we're going to do is we're going to start out with the different animals in our animal set. And the first one is going to be the rabbit. So all of you that made the rabbit masks, get ready. All right, we're going to go kind of fast. Are you ready? A rabbit squeezes in, a rabbit squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze the mitten in the snow. A chicken squeezes in, a chicken squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze the mitten in the snow. A pig squeezes in, a pig squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze the mitten in the snow. A goat squeezes in, a goat squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze the mitten in the snow. A sheep squeezes in, a sheep squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze the mitten in the snow. A cow squeezes in, a cow squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze the mitten in the snow. A mouse squeezes in, a mouse squeezes in. Help us please so we won't freeze the mitten in the snow. The cow says, achoo! A cow says, achoo! All the animals fly out of the mitten in the snow. Good job, everyone! If I had to choose which of our farm animals that I would like to share a mitten with, it would have to be this cute little rabbit. This breed of small rabbit, which is called a Dutch, is easily recognizable by its white blaze on his nose, scoot back a little bit, its white collar around the neck, and its white saddle on the shoulder back area. And despite the name, this popular breed was actually first developed in England, not the Netherlands. There are 7 different color varieties recognized, and this is an example of a black and white one. Now our Dutch rabbit is so super soft. He has normal length fur with a soft underlayer, which is covered by longer guard hairs. Notice his upright ears? They do have hair in them, which help to keep the dirt out when he's digging. He can turn those ears in many different directions to help locate sound. This is very important for wild rabbits, so predators like a great horned owl don't swoop down and catch him. Our rabbit has big back feet, which help him to hop around, and all 4 of his feet have claws to help him dig. Rabbits are herbivores, which means they eat plants. And our rabbit gets pellet food, fresh water, and timothy hay every day, besides the special treats like corn, sunflower seeds, and a variety of greens and some fruit. Now, rabbits are mammals, and mammals don't digest plant material very efficiently. Therefore, when our rabbit eats, let's say, a dandelion, his body digests it, and then a soft, wet pellet waste comes out. He then eats it and lets that pass through his digestive system again to get as much nutrients out of it as possible. Then out comes a round, hard poop, which makes fantastic fertilizer for our flower gardens at the farm. Our Dutch rabbit is so easygoing, he loves to be held and petted, and we are fortunate to have him here at Chisholm Historic Farmstead. All right, hope you had as much fun doing Whose Mitten Is This for our virtual show and tell program here at Chisholm Historic Farmstead, as Alita and I did. If you're not able to join us for our next show and tell, which is titled Bird Beak Buffet on Thursday, January the 14th at 10 o'clock, don't worry. All of our virtual show and tells will be posted on our website at yourmetroparks.net. You can go to the log off, shut down, get outside link, and it has all of our activities and posts that we've been doing. So thanks again for coming out to the farm and visit us. Take care.